Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, the Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Salinger.
Hello, peoples.
And Ryan Stokiel.
I was trying to think of something funny to say, and then couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
It's okay. They all can't be winners, all right?
Yeah. Just like the last episode, and how we went so insane.
Wait, we? I'm pretty sure it was you.
Yes, I admit to that.
We all had some.
I think you need some time to. I think you still need some more time to reflect on this, Amoeba.
Yes. So, we're all 90s kids, right?
I mean, yes.
Hey, who remembers Reboot?
I do.
That
I'm scared.
3D show.
Yeah.
Where they're.
It was actually pretty good for the time. It wasn't that crappy compared to, other shit.
So, did you hear Reboot is getting a reboot?
I've heard, but from what I remember when I last looked, it didn't look that good.
It seems to be a Code Lyoko Season 5. What was the
they're turning it into live action?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it.
Yep,
that's right.
Where they go into the world of the mainframe, and...
That's not how it works!
Hey,
that's not how it works!
This is going to be a reboot of a reboot.
I don't care.
So they're gonna change how shit goes?
Is, though. That completely destroys it. The point is that you have characters that embody the idea of... In Bob's case, he's a guardian, right? He's your antivirus. You have one who was corrupted and turns into Megabyte, who becomes the virus. These are characters that live inside the computer.
Yeah, dude. What if...
exist in there and only know what's in there.
What if somebody just came along
They can only assume that there is a user on the outside. They don't know that.
Yeah, so does the show end with, the guy throwing his computer in an incinerator?
I honestly don't remember. It's been so long.
I think... Since I was just...
Hold on, but supposedly people have done the math, not the math, but they've looked into it.
Monster math.
Yeah, monster math, yeah. Anyway, people looked into it, and from what they could get out of it, out of the little tips that were dropped, right, is that mainframe actually takes place inside of a supercomputer somewhere. It's not a normal, PC. It is a huge supercomputer.
But then in Season 3, or near the end, I remember they showed the user's hand restarting his desktop.
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. It's been too long.
But in
But
in Reboot, the Guardian Code, Bob, Dot, Enzo, and Megabyte will all make appearances in one or more episodes.
Are they still what they're supposed to be, or are they also live action?
Not enough information at this time.
Oh, God.
And here's the interesting part. It's going to be released on Netflix worldwide, except for Canada.
Oh my God, Woolie's gonna be so pissed.
You know why? Because in Canada, it will be on YTV, starting 4 months after it comes up on Netflix. March 30th, if anybody wants to watch.
Why is it coming out months later?
I don't know. That's the interesting part.
Whoever was gonna watch it found it online by that point.
Maybe.
If we're talking Canada, when they can't get it themselves, they either that or they've gone into America to watch it there. For whatever various reasons, when they're over.
20 episodes have been confirmed.
Oh, God. I don't know if I want to watch it or if I just want to see it as a train wreck. I don't know if I want to avoid it or just see the train wreck happen. Oh, God. I have good memories of Reboot. It was one of the very good CG series at the time. which it was 90s CG.
Far better than Donkey Kong Country.
Oh God, not that. Oh God, that hurts to look at. That series hurts to look at. That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
But come on, it's the crystal coconut.
Do you know what happens when they shave Donkey Kong's head? That little thing that pokes out is apparently part of his skull. He has tumors or something. Like that's
well,
not
Popeye,
just that's literally not a flock of hair. That is his skull.
Again, and Popeye's arm tumors.
Yeah, tumors. Those are tumors.
I'm still disappointed that we never got that Popeye movie that we were supposed to get.
A new one?
There was supposed to be one done by, God damn it, I forget his name. The guy that did Samurai Jack. I forget his name. Gendy Tartakovsky.
Really?
He was the one who was,
Yeah.
yes. He was going to do that until they came out with, until they moved him over to, I think, Hotel Transylvania.
Gendy did Hotel Transylvania?
Transylvania.
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch it then.
It's one of the few good things Adam Sandler is in anymore.
Huh.
How many were there now? There's like 5 of them or something?
Three,
No, I think three's coming out.
Christmas special.
Yeah, 3 is going to be coming out sometime this year, I believe. Plus, yeah, the Christmas special. But yeah, he worked on Hotel Transylvania, and he was originally, I believe, going to do the a Popeye movie, which it was a 3D Popeye. It looked pretty damn good for what it was.
Oh, okay. It was going to be a 3...
Yeah, it was going to be a CG Popeye, and it looked pretty good for what it was until he got pulled away from the project, and then it just kind of died. But yes, I don't know whether or not I want to see this new reboot now. Because it'll either be a hilarious train wreck, or it'll be something that makes me cringe so hard it hurts.
Yeah, because season 5 of Code Lyoko.
I don't want... I steered clear of that. I didn't watch it because I knew what that was going to be the minute I heard about it.
Yeah, but they can't all be winners.
God. When will we stop transitioning things from animation to fucking real life? All right?
The Bleach movie
99%
seems
of
good.
the time, 99% of the time it does not work, okay?
Even
unless
if it is in Japan?
Unless you're Japan, in which case it works maybe about 60% of the time.
The Bleach movie will be Japan made, and it looks awesome so far.
Like I said, Japan manages to do it somehow, and they do it like 60% of the time. It's damn good. We cannot do it over here, period.
Did you see they had a live-action Assassination Classroom?
I have not seen Assassination Classroom to begin with, so no.
Neither have I, but it just seems like something that could not be done in live action, and I've heard it was done remarkably well.
I know they've done, what was it? They've done the Ace Attorney series a few times in live action, and it's been hit or miss. Like, I think the majority of them are pretty good, but from what I've heard, there are a couple of them that are real bad stinkers.
So, does Phoenix wear a wig or lots and lots of hair gel?
I'm pretty sure at that point it's a wig.
Okay.
It might depend on what, who's actually doing the show, though. Like, it could vary from, whatever studio's doing it.
Yeah.
So then, do we want to get into the main part of this show?
Speaking about stuff that has live-action adaptions... And I've heard the live-action adaptation of this was pretty decent. Fullmetal Alchemist.
I mean, to be fair, this one would work. Like, as a live-action movie, you could feasibly do it. Like, even over here, we could feasibly do it. The problem is going to be when you want to get into the actual message of the series. But yes, we're doing Fullmetal Alchemist this week.
Which
not
was
Brotherhood. Not Brotherhood. We're doing 03, the original anime, which drastically differs from the manga.
And there was a light novel to go with it, which I did not know. I just thought it was the manga.
I will also say this. I feel like we can't really just talk about the series, we also have to bring in the movie, Conqueror of Shambhala.
Which
in this.
I did not see. I've only heard about.
We do need to bring that one up, just because it is literally like the ending of the series.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a separate entity in and of itself.
The manga ran from July 12th, 2001 to June 12th, 2010. Almost a good, 9-10 year run in there. And the light novel was February 28th, 2003 to April 22nd, 2010. And if you don't remember from previous episodes, light novels are books with pictures. So, kind of like novel with a few pages of art here and there.
So, Ryan, I think we need to ask the dreaded question of what is this about? Or have you actually seen this one?
I actually have.
Oh, well, there we go. We don't really need to get Orion's insane worldview based on a title.
I think 2 episodes ago, when we mentioned Fullmetal Alchemist getting a live action, he was rather impressed or intrigued. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good series, and a lot of people like it, and there's a lot of debate as to whether 03 or Brotherhood is better.
We'll find out next week.
No, we won't. Because we won't be taking sides on that.
Oh.
Unless you guys really want to put yourself in the crossfire.
No.
Because I like them both equally. I can't decide.
Okay. Spoiler, this is going to be a 2-parter with Brotherhood next week.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
So, we all know more or less the story of 03, right? It basically starts off with Ed and Al basically trying to bring back their mother with taboo alchemy.
Oh God, just hold on a minute.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Jumping ahead. Is Winry tsundere?
That's actually a hard one to... Kind of? Little bit? I wouldn't say full on like the last few characters you've talked about. But I would say a little bit, yes.
Because I remember thinking she was super hot at the time.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Before we get into this, let me bring up a good story that I believe I had Tristan tell you this one already, Amoeba, but for Orion's sake.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no.
So, all right, a couple years ago, I believe it was either last year or the year before, as of this recording, I had 2 friends. Me and a group of friends were going down to an anime convention, right? 2 of them had decided that they were going to crossplay, which, for those that don't know, is when you cross-dress in a cosplay. So, my friend Nate decided he was going to cosplay as Winry, and the other friend, Kat, had decided she was going to cosplay Ed. So, here's where it gets good, because Nate can really pull off a female look without much of a problem. He's done it before where he's fucked with people this way just because he finds it entertaining.
Can your female friend pull off the male look?
With effort, yes.
Okay.
It takes less effort for Nate just because he's already got the shoulder length long hair to begin with. But he ends up dressing up as Winry, right? And at one point we were taking a break from the con and we were walking around the town. And we were on the boardwalk there, and this was taking place in Atlantic City at the time. And he's walking down the boardwalk, and there was 2 people. One guy had one guy was just walking with his girlfriend, and the girlfriend was eating ice cream or something, right? Mm-hmm. And Nate's walking around dressed as Winry, and she's got the tube top and everything, and he's got fake breasts in there. I think they were all duct tape. So he's he sees this guy and this girl, and he starts slowly lifting up the tube top, and you just see the eyes on the guy just go bigger and bigger to be yes, yes, yes. And the girlfriend that's with him is just no.
Oh my God.
And the minute he crests over the duct tape breasts, he loses his, the guy loses his shit, oh my God. And the girl eating the ice cream just drops it. Because they just were not ready for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was the most beautiful thing in the world. I'm no, this needs to happen again. We need to recreate this because it was so beautiful.
That's
Oh, God.
It was so great. Oh, God. But, all right, like, we should get back onto the main topic of the actual anime now.
Yes.
So it starts off basically with, like, Ed and Al trying to resurrect their mother from the dead with alchemy. Doesn't go too well. Al loses his body, and Ed, after losing an arm and a leg, manages to infuse his soul, into a suit of armor.
Mm-hmm.
So a few years later, they end up becoming state alchemists, which are part of the military. Because if we haven't noticed yet, the military has magical science stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a much different world than we would expect. I believe, I forget, are there pistols in this world? I know I've seen sabers, like swords.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought they had
Like cavalry swords I've seen, but I don't
gunpowder
know
and
about...
rifles and stuff.
Do they have rifles?
I could have sworn. Maybe
They might.
not.
Like, if it's anything, they might be not flintlock, muzzle loaders. Is what they would. And they're not very advanced. I know that much.
Yeah, because in this world, magic took priority over science.
Alchemy, which is different than magic. Alchemy is a fusion of magic and science.
Okay.
Because obviously you're using a lot of chemistry involved in this rather than just, I'm going to turn that water into wine. No, you need to have the ingredients there to then do that the correct way. Like you would need the grapes, you would need the water and whatever other things would go into it. Then you can just make it and it won't matter, like the aging process. Like,
and just small little side note, it's been gone on AdultSwim.com for like so many years now, but I remember there was this totally awesome Fullmetal Alchemist beat-em-up game on. I
can't say I ever played it. I don't remember it.
Yeah, but it's been gone from Adult Swim for like, what is it, like 6-8 years now?
You might be able to find it online. It'd be abandoned somewhere.
I even
I'm
forget
sure somebody
what it
would
was
have
called.
had it up. I'm sure with a little bit of research you could find it.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's the story of Ed and Al trying to redeem themselves after fucking up so bad with this failed resurrection of their mother. Which gets interesting because there's a huge difference in the way they perceive things from the manga and Brotherhood to 03. And personally, this is how I think they should have done it with most series that try to, go inside with the manga being created.
So why is the anime so different? Is it because they didn't have time to catch up to, the anime overtook the manga?
No, the reason is, right, rather than doing filler like we get with Dragon Ball Z and a bunch of other shonen manga, they decided, no, you know what? We're going to branch this off in our own direction, which I think is a far better idea than shoving filler into something. I think it's a far more interesting idea to have this branching path where the manga continues on with its track, but the anime branches off at some point wherever, they catch up to where the manga's at. And have an offshoot onto a completely different story or something that's not completely different, but tied to the same setup and same ideas.
And did Hiromu
Sounds like
Arakawa, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation there, but Hiromu Arakawa, did he have any input in the 03 anime?
I'm not actually sure. He might have, like plot points maybe. But since he hadn't actually done the chapters, he probably didn't have an exact idea of where things were going.
Okay.
Like, for instance, we meet up with the homunculi, right? The homunculi being, like, in 03's case, the embodiment of sin, the embodiment of somebody doing taboo alchemy. In the case of 03, we meet Lust, who is supposed to be the embodiment of what Ed and Al's mother looked like, but corrupted. In Brotherhood and the manga, that's not the case. It is like her existence is a direct consequence of them trying that, but she's not supposed to be the embodiment of the mother. There's also name changes among the homunculi as well, where I think I think he's Wrath, in 03, who's the leader of the army, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forget what he's actually called. But him, like in 03, he's called Wrath. But when you get into Brotherhood, I believe he's Pride. So the names have swapped around here and there. Also, like in 03, Greed is around for a short time, but Greed's around far longer in Brotherhood in the manga.
Okay.
And there's a bit more going on with him. Plus, his whole like story part is connected to 2 other characters completely that don't exist in 03. The Führer, that's what he's called. He's called the Führer.
Okay.
But yeah, the Führer would be, I believe, Wrath in 03, and he becomes Pride. No, he's Pride in 03. He's Wrath in Brotherhood. That's what it is. So I had it reversed. Anyway, point is, right, there's some drastic differences because of the fact that this split off so early. There were things that were never finalized, I think, when 03 was made.
Okay.
So while they had plot points, they didn't have specifics. But it is their redemption arc. Their idea is to seek the Philosopher's Stone, which allows them to bypass the main rule of alchemy, which is equivalent exchange.
That's what it was called.
You want, a green eye, you're going to have to exchange like a blue eye and something to change the eye color. You want to have, a stone wall. Where are the materials?
But can't you just, transmute your own eye green, or will you actually need to, remove your eye?
You could. Granted, that was an example, but it was probably a bad one, because that would technically be human alchemy, because you're working with humans.
Oh, yeah.
In that case, or parts of humans.
Which is highly forbidden.
Yes, just because of the drastically bad consequences that happen with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, also why we get the cow goes moo, the cat goes meow, the dog goes Edward.
Oh.
Oh God, there's darkness in this series. There's some real darkness in this series. And if you don't know what I was referencing, it's when a character takes his own daughter and fuses her through alchemy with the dog. Yeah, there's some dark points in this.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. There's plenty of perfect memes about it where they have the dog and her doing the fusion dance and stuff. It's awful, but it's hilarious at the same time, right?
That makes it better?
Maybe? I don't know. It's still terrible.
Oh, God.
I feel bad laughing at it, but it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Oh, but, we basically get the whole idea in this of just they're trying to fix their mistake and basically get back what they lost. Mm-hmm. So Ed lost his arm and a leg, and Al lost his body. Their whole point is to try to find the Philosopher's Stone and get back what they lost in that whole instance at the beginning of the series. However, along the way, they do discover the fact that human souls are what it takes to make a Philosopher's Stone. And not just one, I believe hundreds of thousands. There's a steep cost for that Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, wait now. Doing another Kamen Rider reference, I believe it was Wizard was the magical one. Their Philosopher's Stone was made by the despair of humanity. So, the more humanity is brought into despair, the more powerful this stone will be.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's the same Philosopher's Stone as in Fullmetal Alchemist. It can, grant wishes, or... Is that what the Philosopher's Stone does? Kind of grants wishes to bypass things?
The Philosopher's Stone, in the case of Fullmetal, is it's a huge power source, is the idea, right?
Okay.
It allows you to bypass the laws of alchemy, completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically, you wouldn't be able to turn iron into gold without having, the excess materials to do so. In this case, you can bypass those excess materials without issue.
Yeah.
Like, the idea being you're converting energy. It's a law of conservation of matter. You're converting mass into energy and then vice versa. At least that's the way the Philosopher's Stone is intended, or at least the way I've come to understand how it works.
Okay.
Is that you're using the law of conservation of matter to then shift this energy within human souls that's contained within the gem and bypass things by converting that into the matter needed.
And is it just human souls or alchemist souls? I forget.
Human souls.
Okay. If there's alchemist...
Any old boy.
Okay, so if there's alchemist souls in there, will the Philosopher's Stone be stronger?
Doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
A soul is a soul is a soul. It doesn't matter whether they can use alchemy or not.
Okay.
Technically, if I remember right, anybody can use alchemy with enough studying. The only reason Ed is able to do it the way he does, which is by clapping and putting his hands down, is because of what he saw during his during what happened to him in the beginning of the series when he tried to transmute his own mother back to life.
Yeah.
Like, what we see in that is that he sees, like, the doors of creation or something like that. I forget the exact terminology for it.
I think that's what they were called.
But it reveals to him, like, this weird secret of alchemy that almost nobody else has ever seemed to understand. So that's him understanding that, or understanding more deeply the fundamentals of alchemy, is the reason that he can do alchemy the way he does. Whereas most others can't. I believe he was able to teach it to Al at some point, but it takes Al a while. Like, he isn't able to do it originally at the start of the series. But I think by, closer down to the end, he can.
And I just find it funny that Al is a suit of armor, Ed is a metal arm leg, and Ed is the Fullmetal Alchemist. I mean, Ed is the Fullmetal Alchemist, and everybody thinks Al is.
Obviously, it would be Al, no? I think it was in part just to make fun of him. Yes, just short jokes, yes. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sloth is different. I forgot about that. Yeah. So, yeah, in 03, Sloth is completely different from Brotherhood's version. Like, Sloth in this is actually part of the Fuhrer's, what is it? Like, her system, I believe. Like, it says she was his secretary at one point.
Oh.
Whereas he is not this character in Brotherhood. He is a completely different person in and unto himself.
Is he lazy due to his name being Sloth?
In 03 or in Brotherhood?
03.
03, he's a woman, or she's a woman. But I don't know, because she's not really in here long, as I recall. Like, she only makes slight appearances until she's taken out.
Okay.
Whereas in Brotherhood, it's a different character. It's like, if you remember what Envy looks like, imagine Envy, but super big and super buff.
Oh.
And then just very, very disappointed that he has to do anything.
Okay, because they are the embodiment of that sin, kind of?
Yes. That would be the idea, yeah. They're supposed to be like the embodiment of the sin.
Okay. All I remember, really, is lust and gluttony. Probably because they were, like, the biggest.
They showed up the most. They were the most recurring characters, aside from the Fuhrer himself. Let me see here. Oh, no. It wasn't lust. It was Sloth that was the recreation of their mother.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the idea of, like, they are supposed to be the embodiment of their sins and such. So their personalities slightly coincide with that. I'm not 100% sure in Sloth's case as far as it is in 03.
Yeah, because I just remember Gluttony had, like, this big toothy grin, and he would be eating a lot.
He was squat and fat, too.
Comic relief.
Mm-hmm. You had Lust, who, obviously was a very sexy woman.
With, like, long nails.
Yeah, like, she extended her fingers to, like, blade length.
Ooh, yeah.
Which was her way of attacking.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you had Greed, who had an ability to, like, harden his own skin. and just take huge endurance damages. But obviously he was greedy. If I remember right, he was actually like had his own gang of thieves at one point.
I just realized, as much as Orion loves this anime, he didn't really comment much.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
Yeah, I'm just listening, to be honest.
You don't remember it? Or?
I only remember a few things. I remember, like, watching the whole thing and the movie that came out.
Okay.
But,
So
it's been a very long time since I actually watched it.
I believe
Yeah.
it stopped airing in like 05 or 06.
Yeah, that's the last time I watched it, I think.
Yeah, I watched it a bit more recently than that. I think like late 2000s.
Yeah, and I just read Wikipedia, so...
And I read through the manga like a couple years after that.
Oh, okay.
So I remember it a bit better than that. What else was there? Do we want to just fast forward to the end then? Just skip all the boring stuff?
Okay. I know they go to London in the end, like actual London.
That's in the movie.
That wasn't near the end of the anime?
It might have been a slight like cut to it at the very last episode.
I thought they spent like one episode in London.
I don't believe so. The epilogue episode, I believe, might have had a few cuts to it.
Okay.
Basically, the ending like is Ed giving away his alchemy to Al, and Al getting his body back. The cost of which was, the death of Ed. Ed basically sacrifices himself to give Al his body back and the ability to use alchemy the way Ed did.
Clap if you believe!
Now, here's the more interesting part, right? This is where we get into the movie Conqueror of Shambhala.
Mm-hmm.
Which we don't, at the end of, like, the series, we get this weird portal thing, right? Which sucks people in. Ed sacrifices himself to help close that and give Al all his stuff back. Envy is actually sucked up through that portal as well.
Mm.
Here's where we find out that the world of Fullmetal Alchemist and the real world that we live in is connected. And there's a cycle. What ends up happening is that, now I don't know exactly how this works specifically, because I don't know where souls come from to begin with in this world. I don't believe it's ever fully stated. Audience, if you actually know, and I'm just pulling shit out of my ass here, please tell me. I would love to be informed. But wherever souls come from, people are born in the world of Fullmetal Alchemist, right? When people die, they are then reincarnated as new people over in the real world. Okay?
Okay.
And then once they die in the real world, they become the energy for alchemy back in Fullmetal Alchemist world.
Huh.
Now, where the souls initially come from, I'm not sure.
Chamber of Goth?
I don't know, maybe. But, like, the point is, when you create a Philosopher's Stone, you're pulling the souls out of that cycle and condensing them into a stone to use for that energy of alchemy.
Well, that's brutal.
So you're pulling them out of whatever that cycle is. Now, Conqueror of Shambhala comes in with, like, the idea of just finally getting rid of, I believe it's finally just getting rid of envy is the main thing, because this is happening, like, during...
World War One?
Yeah, World War One, I believe. Where there's, like, I believe there's actually a slight crossover where Al comes in at some point. Again, been a long time.
I'm not sure, but wasn't there an Al in London?
There was not.
Okay.
Like, not a reincarnated Al. At least, not until maybe the end.
Or maybe like an Al equivalent in London that Ed lives with?
I mean, Ed was living with his dad. His dad had been reincarnated as well.
Okay.
Or transferred over, or what have you, whatever it actually happened,
Okay,
right?
okay.
But, he was traveling around, and Ed was on his own when this is all going down.
Okay.
But, yeah, I believe... No. The whole idea was that the Conquerors of Shambhala, the idea was that they were going to try to invade Fullmetal Alchemist world by reversing that portal. And they were trying to use envy, because all homunculi have a philosopher's stone inside of them to keep them moving and alive.
Oh.
They're using his, while it's still inside of him, to try and create a portal to go back in to the FMA world.
Huh.
So basically the idea was to shut it down on both sides. I believe like Roy Mustang and Alphonse and all the others were working to shut it down on their end, while Ed's over on the real world side shutting it down over there.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen the series myself, and I have not seen Conqueror, so...
Yeah, it's been a long time, so I'm probably pulling a bit of it out of my ass right now. I'm not gonna lie.
All I have is Wikipedia to help me.
I remember it's been a lot. I have it up too. Not that it's helping me much, I don't think, because I can't read fast enough.
Yeah, but episode 51 says, as Zeppelins rained bombs upon London during World War I. So I was kind of right that they...
Was that at the end? Was that the last episode?
Second from last.
Then it was probably an epilogue episode of what's going on in the normal FMA world for episode 52 then.
And then in 51, it ends with the brothers resolve to reunite one day, and then Edward is pulled into the Gate of Truth and currently is in Munich.
There you go. Munich, Germany, I believe that is, right?
Yeah.
It's Germany, not England.
Well, episode 50 is in London, and Ed winds up in Munich in 51. That's what Wikipedia says. Episode 50 and 51. But
yeah, we find a lot of the previously dead cast have been reincarnated in this new world. In the normal, our world, is what I should say. Like, we have Hughes back. The guy who has shit tons of pictures of his daughter that he wants to show everyone.
Oh, yeah. I can just imagine him in today's time pulling out an iPhone, like 5,000 pictures, all of his daughter.
Probably.
Just keeps...
Even better, I've got another memory card in here somewhere. Hold on, let me pull it out.
And who is Roy Mustang's girlfriend?
Riza Hawkeye. Which she has a much more interesting plot line in Brotherhood, too.
Yeah. Hawkeye would be like, oh god, there's more.
Yeah, we get a much more interesting backstory for her, I believe. Because either it's hinted at or it's not really said in 03, but I believe it is definitely shown in Brotherhood. Okay. Like her backstory.
And when did this split off happen?
Fairly early on. I want to say right about the time they discovered what the Philosopher's Stone actually was.
Oh, okay.
But they were finding that out in a library at one point. And I believe it's right around there where it separates.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right after Hughes dies, when Envy kills Hughes. So that's when it splits. So right around that time, give or take. Needless to say, this anime is extremely good, and there's a lot of plot going on, as well as, like, philosophy, I guess. The idea of what actually is a human soul worth, and the idea of especially if we're going to talk Brotherhood, are the souls inside, are they even conscious of what they are, or is it better to use them and put them out of the misery they might be in? Like, you've got a lot of moral quandary, as well as a few other things going on.
It was 10 years ago that this was on, so I may not have realized the depth of the message of the anime when I was...
Oh, yeah, we were younger. We didn't realize it either. I didn't notice it until I, started redoing Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought they were fighting, like, Nazis. Like, that's how
It's not quite World War II yet. It's World War I.
Okay. All right. So my memory's not too bad.
So was it also the 1900s in their world?
It's a good question. Like, the idea between the two being split off is that, FMA world discovered alchemy, and that put them on a completely different trajectory than our world, where we never discovered... Either we never discovered how alchemy worked, or it just didn't work in our world. Whichever one that would be in this case. So the idea is basically that because of this one thing either working or not working, it threw off how the worlds evolved over time.
That would be interesting to think about. Like,
it is curious because it's almost like it's a lot like steampunk almost in that kind of aspect, where it's like if we hadn't discovered a way that would be faster and more efficient than steam technology, we'd have a steampunk-based world.
so steampunk computers?
To be fair, there is a person, not even going to say character because he's actually in fucking Fate Grand Order or the Fate Universe. Charles Babbage is a person who died before he could finish the things he was making, which was literally a steam-based computer. The difference engine was one of those computers.
So would I need to, like, pour water onto my computer and not ruin it?
Potentially. It potentially would have run on water.
Huh.
But yes, like, Charles Babbage, had he not died before this was created, may well have changed the trajectory of how we did technology until this point. It's kind of insane because he is still attributed as the creator of computers, like the forefather of modern computers.
That would be interesting to see.
So yeah, if he had not died before completing these, God knows where our technology would have gone instead. Like, we could literally be on, like, flying brass gear ships at this point.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Are you kidding? Of course it would be awesome. But the other question would be, could we have condensed that? Or would it have still had to have been as massive as it needed to be back then?
And when was Babbage around?
Charles Babbage was around, I want to say the 1800s. It was like Victorian England.
Okay, so steam-powered cars was one of his concepts.
1791 was his birth date. 1871 he died.
Oh, so he had no idea about cars, or...
Nope. I mean, we had, like, steam-powered boats, I believe, at the time, but I don't believe there was a car. I think trains were around then, but that was as, that was as far as it got.
Okay.
Now, what was the other one? It was the difference engine, and there was another one that he had. I don't remember. Analytical engine, I believe, was the other one. But yeah, they were extremely, extremely interesting things. That had he lived to finish them, might well have changed the course of human technology. The same thing. You can say the same thing with Tesla too. Had Tesla finished, his stuff, we might have wireless electricity.
That would be fascinating to see.
I mean,
guess.
we kind of already do with like how Wi-Fi works, almost.
Yeah, but that's not quite electricity.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying, like, you would no longer need power outlets.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yes.
Like, you would just have electricity airwaves powering everything.
Then everybody would just look like Hulk Hogan with leather skin.
I don't know about side effects. This guy was creating it. Who knows what the long-term effect would have been. It could also be that we all become, static shock and have lightning powers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be cool with that.
I think everybody would be.
Weren't they making a Static Shock reboot or something like that?
I'd heard it might have been either like a live action series, which I could see happening, or it might have been a movie I was hearing about.
Aren't you confusing Static Shock with Black Thunder? Because I know Black Lightning. I know they're coming out with a Black Lightning series.
I'm not. I know I've heard murmurs of it. I don't know if it ever actually came to
I thought they were like I thought Jaden Smith was gonna get casted as Static Shock or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that was the rumors I read.
Wait, couldn't Black... No, I'm thinking about the Harvey Birdman Black Lightning that could turn anything below crotch level into, like, a giant lightning bolt.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting on a tangent again.
He has electricity in his pants.
We're doing it again. Nice. Oh no, it's happening again.
No, it is Black Lightning, though, the show.
Okay.
And all I kept thinking was fucking Shaq Fu or Shazam like the whole time I was watching this trailer. Yeah.
Oh God. Are
They
you
actually
excited
made
for
a
when
Michael.
Shaq Fu 2 comes back?
They actually made a Michael Jordan video game where your teammates were kidnapped by aliens, and with your mad basketball skills, you have to save them.
So it's Space
What?
Jam, the video game, but without the cartoons.
We'll have to do that on FIFA Gaming, even if it's one-off.
Oh my God. If we can get it to work.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. But yeah. Anyway, I would give Fullmetal 03 the same score I would give Fullmetal Brotherhood. All right. They're dead even to me, and I have a hard time deciding which one I like more.
So that's a what? 8 out of 10? 9 out of 10?
I don't think anything's going to be a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give this a 9.
Okay.
Like, this is one of my higher ones. Or I should say one of my higher ones.
From what I remember, on like a typical 4-star movie scale, maybe Pi stars.
Pi stars?
Yes, Pi. 3.1415 stars.
Oh, man. Well, get ready for the angry comments, Amoeba. They're going to be hating you for that one.
Yeah, I'd say I'd give the show like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, from what I remember. There's very little, but I know when I did watch it, I enjoyed it a lot.
I think that wraps that up then.
Yeah.
So, actually, you know what? Before we do this, let me ask one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys like to see a sequel series to this anime? And it doesn't have to be specifically a sequel to, like, the story of the characters, but a sequel series based in the same world.
I think they could make that interesting.
Like, will any of the main characters make cameos?
I would say no. I forget, did you watch Legend of Korra?
Like one episode.
Okay, then you wouldn't. Okay, so let me put it this way. I would say that if there might be references to the original cast,
Didn't Toph come back in Korra?
Toph did. There were a couple that came back, but what I should say is that, in my mind, I would say either one character, like this would be so far in the future that maybe one character is still alive that remembers these events.
Okay.
Or we only have the history of what happened back then to give us any ideas of the connection to the old characters of the past.
I would say maybe. Not definite, but that might maybe be interesting.
Okay, what about you, Orion?
I don't know.
Because I feel like this is a good question to ask for just about any series that's finished, all right?
Yeah.
Like, would we like to have them revisit this world with new characters, maybe a slight reference to the past, or maybe perhaps whatever the problems were in the past are re-emerging, and this is a new group that needs to deal with it?
Yeah.
Or a side effect from that first issue?
They would definitely have to have the main characters very interesting because of just the main characters of the previous. Like if they made one.
Yeah.
Were so good. I don't
And
know.
they'll need to live up to Ed and L standards.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it
They're
won't be
dynamic.
difficult. I'm just asking whether you think it would be an interesting idea.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll have to have a female sidekick to replace Winry.
Well, here's the thing, right? I don't think gender matters in this case. It could be that we're following a female character rather than, Ed and Al being two male characters.
Yeah.
That too.
We could completely change up who or what they are. It could just be a regular person living in the world of alchemy without being an alchemist.
Yeah,
Oh.
You know what? They could totally have a bakery.
Oh, no.
And
Oh, no. Is it the Vegas again? Are we going back to this? Oh, no. It's happening again.
Well, we're almost kind of near France. It could be.
We're near France in the real world. I'm saying we're picking up an FMA world where none of those countries exist.
Did they say what country FMA takes place in?
Amestris is the country.
It looks like
bordered
they
by a
have...
few other countries, but it is called Amestris.
It seemed London-esque, or like Western
like
Europe.
European.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the idea. It's kind of to give you that's the thing too. It's supposed to give you that kind of similarity and familiarity that you would have from the real world.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same way that if you go into like, any kind of fantasy role-playing game, right? The architecture will look similar to something you've seen before.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they'll always have that kind of connection to it.
Okay.
Like, unless you're going to go batshit insane, which I don't think anybody's really going to do, unless you have to for the setup.
Yeah.
You're going to have inspiration from, other sorts of architecture and such.
So, Orion, will these baguettes be able to perform alchemy?
God damn it, I thought we were done with this.
They just take, like, grains and stuff. They can't really do much. I guess, like, they could make, like, products only that can be baked.
You guys can't see it, but I'm face palming right now because of both of you.
But
like,
will
they
it
can
be
make,
food
like, they
alchemy?
they get mozzarella, some dough, and, like, pepperoni, and they just make a pizza.
All right, look, before this just becomes something completely insane, I think
Will
we
it
need to
make
end
people
this
have foodgasms, though?
We need to end this now.
Like, there'll be this guy.
We have 3
Taste the
subscribers.
pizza.
We're going to have 0 by the end of this.
And it's
His
just his
clothes
naked
explode.
body and a baguette, like, hanging between his legs.
Good times with good friends.
And his nipples are covered with the pepperonis.
I hate all of you. I hate all of you so much.
That's what they should do with the series if they make it again. Something like that.
Please let it end.
Alright, guys. See you later.